Welcome to Annuity News Now. I'm Scott Drake. These days, it's become no surprise to many that annuities are gaining popularity. My guest today is John Deal. He is a senior vice president in the Hartford's wealth management business, and he's written a recent article entitled Lifting the Clouds Over Annuities. John, it's a great pleasure. Welcome.
Oh, thank you, Scott.
You know, you make some good points in your article. One of them is that the GAO recommended annuities last year. Can you talk about what they said about these products?
Sure, Scott. Actually, what the GAO did in response to a request from the chairman of the Special Committee on Aging in the U.S. Senate, published a report where they looked at strategies that financial experts often recommend for their clients who are in the retirement income phase. They examined the choices that retirees are making. And then kind of the gist of it was to try and come up with some policy changes or proposals that they might consider in order to help people ensure income throughout their retirement. So one of the strategies that the financial experts said that they typically would recommend is the allocation of a portion of a retiree's portfolio to income annuity type payment streams. And that would be used to supplement Social Security, defined benefit pension, et cetera.
And that would, in one sense, protect some of the principle to guarantee some sort of income for life, given some of the instability in the equity markets as of late.
Right, especially in consideration of the volatility in equity markets and kind of the unsure footing that retirees feel. It's a kind of a scary feeling looking into volatile markets like that, but knowing that somehow you've got to generate an income that you can't outlive. And for many folks, and what the report pointed out was Social Security makes up a majority of that, and defined benefit plans, although they had been more popular in the past, are beginning to disappear. And therefore there are other types of solutions needed to help supplement guaranteed income.
You know, it couldn't have been a worse time for everybody, obviously, for the financial problems we've been having, but for baby boomers who are just getting ready to retire with something else. Talk about annuity products and why they've been so misunderstood for so long.
Well, I think that's because, Scott, there are many misconceptions about annuities. First of all, people tend to say the word annuity and paint with a pretty broad brush. There are many different forms of annuities that were designed to fit different types of needs for retirement investors. But I think the main issue is that there are a number of benefits that annuities offer. Some may be on the tax front, so they're tax-deferred vehicles so that they can allow for tax-deferred accumulation for retirement. But someone else may be looking at them for the death protection for beneficiaries, while others may be looking at them for income strategies. And so as an example, you know, someone might say, well, you know, why the heck would I ever consider putting an annuity in my IRA if I'm already getting tax deferral? Well, that would be correct. But one consideration you might make is for the income benefits that an annuity may generate within that IRA to provide a retirement income stream for life. So sometimes I think there's some mixing and matching and some misconceptions of all the different ways that annuities could be used, in addition to not considering the various types of annuities and which one might suit the investor's objectives the best.
And, you know, it's also, we've been seeing big institutions, investment banks, or banks actually adding annuities to their portfolios, which I guess is a good sign. Do you think this is an answer to demand by the consumer?
I believe that it is, as we think about the aging population and people needing solutions like this. But I do think the correct way to view these products, like any product, is what is the correct allocation that an annuity or the correct role that an annuity may play in my overall portfolio. It shouldn't be a question of, you know, which one is best, an annuity or a mutual fund or a CD. Based on your objectives, all three of those may be appropriate investments. It's just a question of to what extent within the portfolio.
Can you, because these are insurance products essentially, can you talk about how they generate income and for example, maybe explain what an income rider is?
Sure. You know, annuities, like any type of investment product, generate their income primarily through the underlying performance of the vehicle they're investing in. So whether that's an account that is generating interest earnings, or it's an account that is invested in market-type investments, the underlying performance is really what drives income. However, because the product is issued by an insurance company, there are guarantees that are often associated with the annuity, which allow it to pay for a lifetime of income. And so those guarantees are, again, based on the insurance company's knowledge about life expectancies and how long people are expected to live, coupled with underlying interest rates, so on and so forth. So by gathering lots of people together, the law of large numbers, if you will, an insurance company is able to offer benefits and guarantees that other investment companies can't. Now, an income rider that you mentioned is typically associated with one type of an annuity called a variable annuity. And those income riders are often they're placed on annuities to allow different ways for income to be taken. So, for example, if you didn't want to apply 100% of your money to generating only an income where you wouldn't have any account value, you might invest in some type of a guaranteed withdrawal benefit rider. And that's a rider which says, look, as long as you don't take more than X percent, typically it's like a 5% type of a income guarantee, out in any given year, the insurance company will guarantee to make sure that they pay you a minimum income stream for the rest of your life, even if your withdrawals would exhaust the account value. So an income rider is something that a consumer typically pays a little bit more for. There may be restrictions in terms of what it can be invested in, but the intent is to say, what kind of an income stream could we generate based on your age and your investment selection that will last for the rest of your life?
Let's talk to that person who is considering the purchase of one of these products. First of all, what questions should they ask, and are all planners sort of qualified to sell these?
Well, certainly the questions they should ask, the first and foremost one is, what role do I expect this annuity to play in my portfolio? Why am I interested in annuity, or why is my advisor recommending an annuity in the first place? So am I looking primarily for income guarantees or death benefit protection or tax deferral or whatever it might be? The other thing I want to think about is, what part of my portfolio should this annuity kind of represent, at least a ballpark going into it. After I get into that, I want to think a little bit about the cost versus the benefits, because let's be right up front, because you are getting a degree of guarantee on these annuity products in most cases, you're going to find that the costs are probably a little bit more than you would pay in other investment strategies without guarantees. So you have to be comfortable that the cost that you're paying for the investment, and I would ask my advisor specifically what the costs are, you want to make sure that those costs are justified by the benefits that you're getting for it, and that they match your investment objectives. I think the one other thing you want to ask, Scott, is, am I interested in an annuity product that is based on a fixed income type of return and interest return, or am I interested in something where I can invest some of my money in equity markets, bond markets, so on and so forth? There are those types of annuities that can suit those needs. And to your question about, are representatives, are planners qualified to sell them, all annuities require the sellers to be life insurance licensed in their states where they're doing business. And certain types of annuities where you're investing in markets, so on and so forth, may require the advisor to be securities registered as well. I don't know that I could answer the question, are all planners qualified to sell them? I think you'd want to apply the same criteria to your advisor who is recommending annuity as you would to him or her recommending any other product, which is, are they competent? What evidence of that do you have? Do you have other sources of referrals? Are they used to doing this type of business? And so on. But I think knowing a little bit of that, kind of applying some of that common sense approach can be helpful in kind of helping you understand how confident you can be in that advisor's abilities.
In closing, you also mentioned some other products that are available to people. People would love to have some sort of guarantee and then also have some upside potential. Fixed index products are becoming more popular, and they are tied to equity markets in one sense. Can you explain what those are?
Sure. I think, in your lead into the question there, I think you've kind of described it pretty well. I think you have to, as a consumer, you have to realize you can't exactly have your cake and eat it too. But to a certain extent, some of these products may allow you to approach that in that, look, you're realistic enough to know that, you're going to live a long time, and therefore having some exposure to the markets is probably not a bad idea. But you can't stomach the volatility. So what these fixed indexed annuities attempt to do is they credit interest based on the performance of some kind of an underlying market index. Now, they will cap the upside on those index returns in exchange for some protection on the downside. So in many cases, you may be able to protect the principal amount that you invested on the downside, but if the market takes off on a run, you'll only participate to a certain extent, and then your participation will be capped. But it may be a way in the right market environments to increase your interest earning potential over what you might get out of other alternative interest-bearing investments. So it is an area we see interest in them growing. I think, as a financial planner myself, I see kind of a legitimization of those products. You want to ask questions about how long do I have to be in this product? For example, how long are the surrender charges? And what I see is that the products are becoming better and better as more competitors enter the field. So I think it's an area of growing interest to look for in the years ahead.
And let's talk about just how you expect the market, the annuity market, to do in the near future. It sounds like it looks pretty good for annuities overall.
I think it does, Scott, because if you ask yourself, where are people going to turn for these alternatives that are going to supplement guaranteed income? As we mentioned, I think the GAO report pointed out that only about 6% of people in defined contribution plans are actually taking any kind of annuity option. And the problem with that is if we solely draw down our savings and we make some mistakes along the way, we may not realize that our assets aren't going to last for another 10, 15, or 20 years. By employing at least a portion of the portfolio to these annuity products, I'm guaranteed by an insurance company that my investment or my income stream will last as long as I do. And I think as investors think about this retirement income picture and they start to say, wow, a certain amount of my costs from month to month are fairly fixed, and I want to be comfortable that the income's going to be there to cover my expenses, then the question is, what kind of sources can I draw that type of income from? And I think they're fairly limited. Social Security, defined benefit plans, if you're fortunate enough to have one, and then a supplemental stream from a product like an annuity. So, yeah, I think the future's bright.
John Deal is my guest. He is the Hartford's Wealth Management Senior Vice President. John, a great pleasure, and if it's okay with you, I'd like to have you back.
I'd love to do it, Scott. Thank you.
I'm Scott Drake, and you're watching Annuity News Now.